And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the very last and the very important award of the night, which is the William Bill Seidman Leadership Lifetime Achievement Award 2024. For this, may we now invite Mr. Emmanuel Daniel for this award.
We've traveled through an evening of identifying and congratulating a whole series of winners of awards. Going through the awards program this evening gives us an idea of the transformations and the work that is being done in the financial services industry across the Asia-Pacific region. I must first thank the work done by the research team in putting together this awards program. It is an annual exercise that starts somewhere in September or October every year and works right into February to March when your banks release their results and when we are able to confirm the awards that we have put in place. You cannot buy an Asian Banker Award. It is earned through the work done by the researchers in identifying your status relative to the rest of your peers in the industry. We are open to being scrutinized as to the results that we announced. There are regulators in some jurisdictions that ask us to submit reports about the awards that we provide. We have an added layer of integrity in the role of the advisors to our program. We have researchers who are career workers, but the practitioners, especially those who have been there before us, are those who validate our awards program. So that whole process is time-consuming and labor-intensive and also very cost-intensive in order to get to the results that we finally announce. And in announcing the awards for this evening, we start with product awards, then we work our way into business layer awards, where we identify and recognize the work that is being done by leaders as well as by their teams. And just now, we've gone through a few of the individuals that we wanted to recognize in the areas of technology, transaction banking, and there are other areas like retail banking and risk management, which we identify separately. We have discontinued our program for CEO of the Year by country because after a number of years, it becomes very clear that there's no point giving awards to CEOs for doing their job. And so we've now elevated the program to only the CEO of the Asia-Pacific region, and then we have other programs for the Middle East and Africa, but that's something that we recognize as and when we find individuals. The industry is only able to maintain its integrity and grow and provide professional careers to all of us because of the work done by those who come ahead of us and the people who have, through their own careers, established the standards by which we measure our own development and our own achievements. The William Bill Seidman Award is named after Bill Seidman, who was the chairman of the FDIC, the second chairman, and chairman right through a lot of the US financial crises, especially the first savings and loan crisis in the 1980s. Bill Seidman was an advisor to the Asian Banker, an advisor to the Leadership Achievement Award for many years before he passed away in 2009. And for that reason, the Lifetime Achievement Award is named after him in recognition of the status and the dedication that he had provided, not just to the United States, but to the global financial system. Before I recognize this individual, I would like to invite our guest of honor, Lord Chris Holmes, and my erstwhile partner in crime, Gordian Gaita, to represent the Council of Advisors to come up and stand on stage in order to present the award for this, the final award for this evening. Lord Chris Holmes, thank you very much for gracing us today. Many of us are aware that there's been a leadership change in Singapore. The third Prime Minister of Singapore gave the baton to the fourth Prime Minister of Singapore. And the interesting nature of that story, the third Prime Minister of Singapore was the son of the first Prime Minister of Singapore. The first Prime Minister of Singapore, of modern day Singapore, was Lee Kuan Yew. And as he was building the transition to the next leadership, he identified his son as being one of the potential leaders who should lead the country into the future. But he experienced incredible resistance to the idea because there were accusations of nepotism and so on. And his reasoning against those pushback was that if my son is as good, if not better than all of the rest that I can see, why shouldn't he be considered? And it was a huge gamble in political terms, in social terms, and it's a gamble that we've seen repeated in many different jurisdictions around the world. And today, just recently, the son of Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Hsien Loong, also stepped down after being Prime Minister for 20 years. So the story is now complete that the founder of Singapore built the institutions and the next generation strengthened them and gave them a life of its own. And this is the role of the people who come after founders. Founders build, they create, and they fight, and they win huge battles. But then comes the generation after the founders who then institutionalize the structures and validate the processes and give life to the individuals and the generations that take on the baton and move on from there. A similar story has taken place in this institution that we recognize tonight, and the leader who we want to recognize for his lifetime achievement in the financial services industry. The person that we are honoring today is currently the chairman and CEO of Public Bank in Malaysia. Many of you may not be aware of this, but from a global perspective, the banks with the lowest cost-to-income ratio for a very long period of time, there were only two such banks in the world. One was Hang Seng Bank here in Hong Kong, and the other was Public Bank in Malaysia. And these two were global benchmarks in banks that were run very close to their community, keeping the trust of their local population and feeding back dividends to their shareholders and keeping trust with the regulator and the community. And just by keeping trust with all of their stakeholders, they're able to build an institutions that withstand the test of time over a long period of time. I've had the pleasure of knowing the founding chairman of Public Bank in Malaysia, Tan Sri Teh Hong Piao. And he was an amazing character with a huge personality. And he loved being celebrated. And I always wondered why or how he's able to hold the institution and how the institution will be able to survive him. And every time I met with Tan Sri Teh Hong Piao, I always had the opportunity to meet Tan Sri Teh Alek, who was his managing director. And for the many years, Tan Sri Teh Alek built his own confidence in building Public Bank and giving it greater strength into what it eventually became. His exceptional tenure of over 60 years in the financial services industry has left an indelible mark that he has led in Malaysia's financial landscape. Tan Sri Teh Alek joined Public Bank in 1966 at the time of its founding, and he has held various roles including Executive Vice President, Executive Director, before assuming the role of managing director in 2002. Under his guidance, the bank achieved significant financial success. Between 2002 and 2023, the bank's assets grew over sevenfold while maintaining strong profitability with an average 17.3% return on equity and an average 1.4% return on assets. He maintained a cost efficiency ratio of about 34% in 2023, and the impact loans decreased from 4.3% in 2002 to 0.6% in 2023. All of these data suggest that Public Bank is the best bank in Malaysia on the strength of its balance sheet, on its commitments to its shareholders, and its strength of relationship with its customer base. Tan Sri Teh Aleck adeptly stewarded the bank through challenges including the global financial crisis and the crisis that we all have come to know about in Malaysia, the 1MDB crisis, for which there was Public Bank was the only bank that was not involved or tainted in any way, giving credence to Tan Sri Teh Aleck's position and determination in sitting above the politics of the country and the gutter nature of the economics of the country at that time. Under his leadership, the bank achieved environmental ESG practices and put in place sustainability management committee and promoted sustainable financing for energy efficient assets and led the ESG initiative in Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me this evening in thanking Tan Sri Teh Aleck for the leadership that he's provided and for the continuity that he's provided for the institution, for institutionalizing the legacy of the institution into the future and enabling it to become an institution that is highly respected in Malaysia and around the world for what it has achieved under his leadership and for the way in which he has transitioned the legacy into the future. The winner of this year's Bill Seidman Lifetime Achievement Award is Tan Sri Teh Aleck of Public Bank, Malaysia.
Congratulations. Let's take a photo together to commemorate this very special moment. Please share with us a few words. Thank you so much.
Mr. Emmanuel Daniel, founder and chairman, the Asian Banker, the Right Honourable Lord Holmes of Richmond MBE, fellow award recipients, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I stand before you today profoundly humbled and deeply honored to accept this prestigious award. I would like to thank and express my deepest appreciation to the Asian Banker for honoring me with this award tonight. Now, this moment transcends personal achievements. It represents the culmination of decades of unwavering commitment, tireless effort, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. But they are not of mine alone. The award belongs to the countless individuals who have shaped my path and the path of Public Bank. Top of this list would have to be my greatest mentor, the founder of Public Bank himself, the late Dr. Teh Hong Piao. To quote Sir Isaac Newton, if I have sinned further, it is because I have stood on the shoulder of giants. For me, it was only one giant, a giant in the Malaysian banking fault loan, who himself received this award 9 years ago. Indeed, being under the tutelage of the late Tan Sri Teh, since the early days of my banking career, was the greatest lesson in banking I could have wished for, and I could not have wished for a better platform in this career other than the Public Bank built by the late Tan Sri Teh. I really cannot thank our late Tan Sri Teh enough. This is really not possible without him. At Public Bank, I am also blessed with a very supportive and professional boards of directors and a very strong and dedicated team at all levels. And I would like to thank all the 20,000 public bankers who at all levels have given me the support. They are the unsung heroes behind this award. From Kuala Lumpur to Sri Lanka, into China, and all the way to this great city of Hong Kong, we are committed to excellence, maintaining high ethical standards, and living up to our aim to be a true bank for the people. This award will only spur us on. To our customers and shareholders, my heartfelt gratitude for continuously challenging us to innovate, exceed expectations, and push boundaries. This unwavering support has been our compass and barometer. We are where we are because of them. To the regulators and the governments in Malaysia and across our operating regions, thank you for the guidance, support, and leadership that created the sound ecosystem where institutions such as Public Bank are able to thrive under. And of course, to my family, whose love and sacrifices have sustained my journey through the years. This award is as much for them as it is for me. Honored guests, please allow me to deliver some quick thoughts in banking before I take my seat. The former president of the World Bank Group, Dr. Jim Yong Kim, rightfully pointed that banks are not just financial intermediaries, but are also agents of change. As bankers, we are all on platforms that can make significant impact on the society and the environment around us. And as such, we must always strive to ensure that the impact we create is driving the people and planet closer to a more sustainable future. Sustainability and climate change is the greatest battle of this generation. It is also a complex battle as the world juggles with many priorities and struggle to find the pathway towards success. It is no longer adequate to be good at running a bank. Bankers today have to be good at running the bank for the greater good and to be able to do so in the face of intense competition, rapid technological changes, digital fraud, and hyper-fluid business dynamics. The young bankers who aspire to be successful in this industry, as I would like to tell my team back home, you have to enjoy running. There is really no secret formula other than hard work, resilience, and perseverance. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express once again my deepest gratitude to the Asian Banker and the esteemed Council of Advisors for this award. Let us continue to strive for excellence and for good, knowing that our collective efforts shape the financial services landscape for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing with us your message of wisdom. Thank you. One more round of applause with our deepest respect and congratulations.
And thank you, Dato' Teh Alec, for continuing the legacy of your mentor and preparing the institution for the future and preparing it for generations to come. And with those words, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here this evening and celebrating all that is good in this industry. Good night.